They missed my 30th birthday because your brother needed money for his car. I just smiled, stayed quiet, and taught myself how to drive out of their lives. Months later, I watched their golden son leave them drowning in debt. Turning 30 didn't scare me. What scared me was the feeling I had a few weeks before it, like something heavy was coming, and I couldn't quite name it yet. I grew up in a family where my brother Jake was the center of everything. It started small extra slices of cake, staying up later than me. He's just a boy type stuff. But over time, it evolved into something uglier. I was the responsible one, the helper, the one who didn't need attention because I had it all together. And Jake, he was the baby. Even when he turned 21, dropped out of school, and crashed 2 cars, he was still their golden boy. And I was just reliable Monica. My husband, Eric, asked me in early March what I wanted to do for my 30th. I said I wanted to keep it small. Dinner, some laughs, maybe a fire pit at his parents' place. But what I really wanted deep down was to see my parents. I thought maybe they'll surprise me this year. Maybe they'll show up. Maybe this birthday they'll choose me. So I called my mom. I didn't ask for a gift. I didn't even ask for dinner. I just said I'd love to see them, and maybe we could do cake or just spend the evening together. She said they wouldn't be able to make it. Not just her and Dad. None of them. Because, and I quote, Jake's car is acting up and we're helping him fix it this month. It's costing more than we thought. I sat on the edge of our bed after that call, holding the phone like it was going to offer more answers. I said, of course I understood. I didn't argue. I didn't guilt trip. I smiled, said it was okay, and hung up. And I made a decision that night. I celebrated my birthday with Eric, our daughter Leia, 2 of my closest friends, and Eric's parents. There was pizza, a ridiculous unicorn cake, laughter that didn't feel forced, and a weird lightness I hadn't felt in years. For the first time, I wasn't carrying the disappointment of being overlooked. I'd set it down, and the people around me saw it. They didn't say much, but I knew they knew. Eric especially. After the cake, when Leia had gone to bed and the wine had set in, I told them what happened. What they said, every one of them, was some version of, you don't have to keep doing this to yourself. Let them miss you. That night, I finally started to listen. I didn't call my parents the next morning like I normally would. I didn't check in with Jake to see how the car was. I let the silence sit. Weeks went by, and the silence remained. And then things started to shift. It was subtle at first. A missed call here. A text about, hey, are you around? From my mom. I ignored them. Then the messages got more direct. Jake had spent $900 on some stupid LED light kit, and then needed more money for tires. He'd maxed out their credit card. He was trying to trade in the car for something newer, but didn't qualify. And then a phone call I didn't answer, but will never forget because she left a voicemail. Monica, we're a little overwhelmed right now. Could you talk to your brother? Maybe help him get on a better track. He listens to you. I laughed out loud. For the first time in years, the absurdity hit me. He listens to me. Since when? I didn't call back. They had spent so many years pretending I didn't need them that they actually believed it. And now, when the golden sun was driving them into chaos, they looked for the one person who always fixed things. But I had stopped fixing. I had started driving in a direction they couldn't follow. It was almost 3 months after my birthday when they showed up. No call, no warning, just a knock at the door on a Sunday afternoon while I was folding laundry and Eric was outside, helping Ela paint the fence with water and a giant brush like it was the most important job on earth. I opened the door and saw both of them, my parents, standing there like they just dropped by on the way back from church. My mom had that tight smile she used whenever she wanted something but didn't want to admit it. My dad looked tired. Not just physically, he always looked tired, but defeated in a way that made me pause for a second before stepping back and letting them in. We sat down in the kitchen, and I didn't offer coffee or snacks or anything. I just waited. My mom started with small talk. How was Leia? How was work? I answered in monosyllables until she dropped it. It was Jake. Apparently, Jake had borrowed money from a friend to try and flip a motorcycle he found online. It turned out the bike was stolen. The friend wanted his money back. $2,500. And Jake didn't have it. Neither did they because they were already paying off the tires, the credit card, and now some other mess he got into with overdue rent after getting kicked out of yet another apartment. They said very calmly that they thought maybe Eric and I could help. Just a loan. Just something to get them through this rough patch. I said no. That was it. One word. No justification. No anger. Just no. My mom blinked like she didn't hear me. My dad looked like he expected it. She started talking again about family, about how Jake was young and just needed support. I stopped her mid-sentence and asked if they remembered my 30th birthday. They both looked confused like I was bringing up ancient history. I reminded them I didn't ask for anything except their time. I reminded them they said they were busy because of Jake's car. Then I said something I don't think I ever said to them before. I told them they made their choices and now I was making mine. They raised a son who never learned consequences, and they ignored the daughter who carried them all. I wasn't carrying them anymore. They didn't leave right away. My mom tried the guilt angle. My dad looked like he wanted to apologize, but the words never came. Eric walked in halfway through, took one glance at the tension, and asked, "What's going on?" My mom turned to him, nervous but still playing her game, and said something about how we should be helping Jake, because that's what family does. Eric, bless him, just replied, "You skipped your daughter's birthday for him. I think we're good." They left soon after. That's when things got messy. The messages turned frantic, then desperate, then finally, silence. For a moment, I thought maybe they'd realize the truth. But no, that's not how it works. When someone is used to you carrying all the weight, the second you set it down, suddenly you're the problem. And then came the most absurd request yet. A week later, my mom texted, "Jake needs stability. Maybe he could stay with you for a bit, just until he's back on his feet." I didn't answer. I just showed Eric. He laughed and said, "If he sets foot in this house, I'm calling the cops." We were done being the safety net for other people's bad choices. But the story wasn't over. Not even close. Jake wasn't just careless, he was reckless. And the next time I heard his name, it came from a number I didn't recognize. It was a Tuesday morning. Already chaotic. Yayla had a meltdown over socks. I was behind on everything, and my coffee had gone cold. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, then answered. The voice was calm, clipped, official. "This is Officer Delaney with the County Sheriff's Department. Is this Monica Reynolds?" I said yes. And then came the sentence that knocked the ground out from under me. "We have your brother, Jacob Reynolds, in custody." He explained Jake had been arrested on multiple theft charges. Money, property, even identity fraud in one case. He'd been stealing from people close to him. Friends, roommates, even an ex, pawning electronics, tools, and jewelry that didn't belong to him. And worse, he'd been funneling money into online gambling, sinking deep into debt, covering his tracks with more theft. This wasn't petty, it was calculated. Then came the question I half expected. Could you assist in any way? Bail, legal counsel, anything? I said no. When I hung up, I didn't cry. I wasn't even shocked. Just hollow, like I was rewatching a movie where I already knew the ending. A few hours later, my mom called. Her voice cracked before she even said hello. No pretense, no small talk. She went straight to the point. Jake was in jail, and they wanted help. Help with bail. Help with legal fees. Help keeping him out of prison. He's not a bad kid, Monica. He just lost his way. My mom said that I reminded her he wasn't a kid anymore. That he'd had more chances than most people ever dream of. That every time they bailed him out, literally or figuratively, he only sank deeper. She insisted he just needed guidance. I told her, then maybe you should have done that 10 years ago. That's when the guilt trip began. My dad got on the line, trying to sound calm. If we all pulled together, maybe we could resolve this quietly. A felony would ruin Jake's life. Could you and Eric maybe loan us a few thousand, just until we get through this? I told him no. No money, no time off work, no court appearances. Nothing. And I meant it. Because for years I'd been the one expected to fix what Jake broke. The emotional glue, the financial safety net, the emergency contact for disasters I didn't create. And when I needed them, they were too busy with his car. Now he'd traded that car for a jail cell, and still they turned to me. And then came the line I'll never forget. My mom said, "How can you be so cold?" I answered, "You raised me to be this way. You made sure I knew I was on my own." Then I hung up. They didn't call back that day. But a week later, they tried again. This time, it wasn't money. It was something even more ridiculous. My mom texted, "If you won't help with bail, maybe you could give a statement to the court about Jake's character, just so they know he has a good sister." I stared at that message for 10 minutes. A good sister? Where was the good mother when I needed one? Where was the good father when I turned 30 and asked for nothing but their time? Eric saw the text, didn't say a word, just shook his head. I felt the anger rise in my chest. I never replied. 3 weeks later, Jake was sentenced. 2 years, with the possibility of early release. He cried in the courtroom. So did my parents. They called him misunderstood, said he had made mistakes but didn't deserve this. I sat in the back, arms crossed, silent. Because the truth was, I had always been the one they leaned on when everything else collapsed. But this time, I wasn't there to catch them. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty. Jake had been gone 7 months when the first lie found its way to me. It came from someone I barely remembered. Ashley, a girl he dated in high school. She messaged me out of nowhere on Facebook. Is it true you pulled strings to keep Jake out of state prison and got him a lighter sentence? I read her message 3 times before replying. I hadn't lifted a finger that I wasn't in the courtroom when Jake was sentenced. 2 days later, a woman from my parents' church told me how proud she was that I was paying his lawyer fees and helping my parents move. I walked away. They were rewriting history, making me the hero in a story I never wanted. Soon, my parents showed up at my house with suitcases. They'd defaulted on loans, sold their car, refinanced their home twice, and now had nowhere to go. They assumed I'd let them stay. I didn't. My mom texted later, I hope you never need help the way we do now. I ignored it. Weeks later, I got a 6-page letter from Jake. Apologies, excuses, and at the end, Mom and Dad said you could probably help me get out early. I folded it, put it in a drawer, and moved on. But trouble didn't stop. My mom called, her voice broken. Jake had been caught running scams from inside prison, using a smuggled phone, tricking women with fake investments. He now faced more charges, and my parents were unraveling. They begged me again. Not for money this time, but to talk to him. Against my better judgment, I agreed. For me, not for them. When I saw Jake, he looked older, beaten down. He said, I knew you'd come. I asked why he kept repeating the same mistakes. He mumbled about fear and pressure, then said, Mom said you'd help, and I told him the truth. No one is coming to save you. When Jake got his extra 2-year sentence, I told him I wasn't angry anymore, but I was done with him. He needed to figure out who he was without destroying everyone else. I left the visitation room and didn't look back. After that, my parents finally stopped leaning on me. For months, I heard nothing, until one spring afternoon at the park. They showed up, smaller, humbled. For the first time, they didn't ask for anything. My mom admitted, we failed you, and we failed him. My dad apologized for always putting Jake on a pedestal and ignoring me. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real. They wanted to try again, slowly, just to be part of Leia's life. I said yes, cautiously. Over time, they changed. They moved into a tiny rental, budgeted, worked with what they had. They visited without assuming, helped with small things, and left when it was time. My mom started calling weekly, not to talk about Jake, but just to ask about Leia or share little stories. My dad even told me once, you were right to walk away. You were the only one thinking clearly. Surprisingly, Jake began writing too. Not excuses, not requests, just letters about prison life, books, working in the kitchen, even getting his GED. In one, he wrote, I don't expect forgiveness, but I was proud to be your brother, even when I was a mess. I haven't replied yet, but I didn't throw the letters away. Eric's been steady through it all, reminding me I don't have to fix everything. And for the first time, life feels peaceful. I read again, draw, cook with music on, join a book club. I'm not waiting for the next crisis. We're not the same family we used to be, and thank God for that. Scarred, but not broken. Humbled, but still here. And when I look at this imperfect, quieter life, I don't feel bitterness anymore. I feel free.